There's much, much more showing that big upgrades for the Illuvium universe are on their way. We're talking like things coming out next week, the week after, within a month, within October. There are so many different updates that I'm very excited for, one or two in particular, but it's very, very exciting. So I'm really looking forward to this episode. I'm really looking forward to what Illuvium has in store for the rest of 2024.
Yeah, thanks, Scoriox, for introducing us as well. Appreciate that.
Yo, I thought he was sick. Where is all this energy coming from?
Goodness. Yeah, I'm excited. I listened to the town hall today. Wouldn't mind actually going over the AMA from last week. We haven't really discussed it, just for a quick couple of minutes, and then we can get into the general show. But TSG or Scoriox, whoever wants to start, maybe I throw it to you, TSG. What was your thoughts on the AMA last week with Kieran, and then also your town hall? If you guys haven't watched it, that's I think live on the Illuvium channel as well. But just your thoughts in general of what's going on in the ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was a week ago. It feels so long ago. So it's crazy to try and think back. But no, I think it was good. I think you guys were able to press for answers in a very respectful way, but still no softballs. I don't think there was any softball, which was really, really good. Obviously, I think it was really good for us to have both your AMA and the town hall today. I know the thing is with the ecosystem, everyone wants their own different thing. You guys focus more on the financials. Yes, you did touch on the game stuff a little bit, but the main priority was the survivability of Illuvium, the finances, the things like that. Whereas today, the town hall, we focus primarily on game development, what's happening, the roadmap, things like that. So I think having them go, I say back to back, but I mean one after another, super, super helpful for the community. I've seen a lot of positive feedback about it. You're always going to have a couple of the naysayers. It is what it is. But I think compared to what we've had previously, it's the first time that we've seen Kieran step out in the spotlight after launch. I think he absolutely killed it. He did what he could, shared what he could, was open with numbers where he could. Overall, I'm very happy with it. There are a few things that I would like to have tweaked on my side on the town hall thing, but everything else, I think I'm very happy with it. But yeah, what about yourself, Scoriox or Sam? Who wants to go first?
Scoriox.
Yeah, I'll just quickly touch on it. I was really happy with the AMA for the most part. I received a lot of messages and things of people saying that they really enjoyed it, or they thought we asked a lot of questions that they wanted answers to. The problem I had with it was at the time when we were organizing the AMA, and we knew that the sorts of questions and direction we were going with it is it just seemed like all of the noise and all of the chatter in the Discord at the time was all about the finances and things like that. But looking back on it, I'm not sure if that was entirely true. And I don't know if that should have changed things or whatever, but it was a bit like a lot of the loud voices were regarding finances, runway, and all that sort of stuff. But a lot of the people who really care about Illuvium and Illuvium itself still just want to know all about what's coming next for the games and things like that. But that being said, I did know we had the town hall coming up and there were even more community questions and things like that. And so I think it was good to have the two different showings for Kieran to have very different topics. And I think that was a net win. But I do wish we touched on the games a little bit more than we did. But that's it. I was really happy with it. I thought the questions we did ask, we pressed really well and we gave it a solid effort. In the past, the AMA questions can sometimes be a little bit fluffy, a little bit surface level. But we took the opportunity, especially yourself, Sam, we took the opportunity to, when he had a response, we dug deeper and we said, okay, but you didn't really give us the full picture. We would like to know this, this, and this as well. And I thought we did that really well. I just wish we did more of that for the games as well.
I think that might have been a time issue, to be honest, because held him for about an hour and a half. But I think my take on it, all in all, is yes, we were focused more on the finances, but it was definitely needed because I think over the AMAs we've done over the last 3-4 years with it, it's always about the game. It's all about what's coming. It's majority of this sort of thing. And due to pressing times with the crypto market and obviously the macro environment, I think it was needed that we needed to drill down on the finances and what's going on behind closed doors and communication. Because if we didn't get those answers as an investor and a player, for most of us, we'd be like, well, hang on, what's going to happen? Are we shutting down tomorrow? Like we're running out of runway. Like all these stresses build up. And if you look at the difference between retail and something like a VC, like VCs think long-term, they're not really too worried about runway and all these sort of things. Whereas retail, we're very emotionally invested. It's a lot more to take on than what a VC would. So I think it was needed to get those questions out to Kieran and sort of press a little bit more than what we used to. And plus, we did know that the town hall was coming up, like you said, Scoriox, with more of the game highlights. So I think that's why I didn't personally want to push on those questions as much, because I knew it was just around the corner. We're going to get the answers we needed. In response to Kieran's answers, it's tough. I thought about it after. I'm like, I understand his positions. Like some of the answers he gave were very, I say blasé, but what else are you going to say, right? Like if you put yourself in his shoes, I totally understand from a CEO's point of view that how can you answer any of these questions? You can't give dates because you're going to get backlash. If you don't have answers on certain things, and the summary of all the answers, which he did a great job in the interview, even when we pressed him, to be honest with you, to give a positive note, is there's no other answers he could have really given, right? Like at the end of the day, if you summed up the whole AMA and even the town hall, the answers would be, guys, we're working really hard. We're building. We're not wasting time. Things are coming soon. We just need more time. And you could just wrap that up in all the answers, basically, but then give an explanation on each defined answer. So I think it was really good in what it was, and I look forward to the coming weeks and months. But my general thesis is that Illuvium just needs a bit more time to build out a really solid game. How long that is, I don't know. And obviously, we have these updates we're going to talk about today on the podcast.
Yeah, and for our topic of the week later, we are going to go more in depth of these updates and things. I'm looking forward to that chat.
Yeah, something that I will just say real quick before we move on is I know Aaron has publicly said that he's going to be doing video dev blogs coming soon. I think that's going to add a lot of value. And Kieran's committed to doing a large-scale town hall like we did today, once a month. And if there is a need for another, we can always squeeze more in. But that will be a reoccurring thing where we will be going to the community, getting those questions fielded and answered directly.
And there's a fireside chat coming up soon. If they can happen frequently, I'm really looking forward to that. I think they are going to be awesome. Stuart's coming on this week. I can't remember who the other person was. It was
Is fireside chat is in this channel here, or is that something else that I don't know about?
No, fireside chat is essentially Cucker's Cave with Dick and a couple of the team members higher up on the team, where they can relay some of the stuff that they're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like everyone's going to get in for like a games night sort of a thing, but you've got some high-level devs on the team that anyone can ask some questions and things at the time as well. So,
cool.
And Stuart being CTO is, I believe CTO is his role. I think he's going to provide a lot of value there.
Great.
Yeah, and we were even talking about it briefly in IMC because I can't remember. I think it was Lizard Labs does this every 2 weeks. They do a fireside chat with a bunch of the higher ups at Lizard Labs, so everyone can just hang out and they can ask all the questions they need to and stuff like that. And they say it works really, really well. So I'm glad Illuvium's following on that and taking the initiative. And I hope we make it a recurring thing, because I think that might even be like just. It's nice engagement with the community. That might even be better than the town hall in a certain sense, based on frequency and just kind of like getting different people in and out. It'll be really fun. So let's jump into the news for the week. Firstly, the past 2 weeks, obviously, because we didn't do a proper download last week. Epoch 10 elections officially ended. Everyone has now settled into their roles. The ICC and IMC are now full steam ahead. The Epoch has officially started. We've got Fight for ETH, Paz, Ricky Tan, Caveman, and Garth all sitting on Epoch 10 for the Illuvium Community Council. So congratulations to all of them. The one notable person that didn't quite make it was JP, which is really unfortunate. I hope he runs in the future.
How is all that going, by the way? You've started recently, right? Is there anything to sort of share with the community here, and any topics?
So last week's meeting, Kieran was in an airport, so it was a little bit weaker. We got through some really good stuff. It was mostly handing over from the previous epoch to this epoch, but last night's meeting was really, really good. Myself and Jaganite and some of the others put down something like 20 topics we wanted to discuss in the meeting, and we got through about 10 of them in great detail, also analyzing some of the internal metrics and things like that. And so we're pushing for a lot more of that transparency between the IMC and the team, and making sure we get all of that data so that we can action it how we need to. And Kieran's really great bringing things to the council before they go ahead and things like that. And so I'm really looking forward to talking about some of the tournaments and stuff. And we'll get to that later on in the episode as well. But I'm looking forward to talking about that in the IMC. So we will get to that soon, I'm sure. But yeah, it's really good stuff.
Amazing.
So the next one we have here is from Rich. The path forward lessons from minting bots and mission challenges. This was actually a post that Stuart made, a giant article all about all of the minting issues, what caused it, what's going into it, what the team has done, how they're fixing it, how they've fixed it. Actually, it's pretty much fixed as far as I'm aware. What's going to happen moving forward and where this kind of leaves Illuvium. This is one of the best things Illuvium has ever posted in terms of devlogs or whatever else. It's just really nice. But I mean, that's more of a personal preference thing. Everyone knows I'm quite the nerd. This thing, as technical as it was a really fun read. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys read it as well. I thought it was great.
I actually read it, and I think it's one of their best blog posts they've put out. Like, the way it was structured, the information, just honesty with the community, no fluff, and the problems that they're coming up with and getting presented with. This whole minting issue and problems with the blockchain. I just want to preface it if people didn't catch the town hall, but no matter what chain we move to, or any, like, even if we move to base or another chain, or there's always going to be these problems right now due to the technology issues. So as much as it is frustrating, I think it's more of a tech issue than necessarily a blockchain, what we pick sort of issue. So just to preface it there, but it was a great blog post that I read, and I think they need more of these regularly just to communicate with the community.
Yeah, I think moving to ZK EVM, if it's not too difficult, would easily be the right call, at least in the short term. Has a lot more support.
Right?
Pardon?
It is super difficult to do so, isn't it? I think.
It seems it. The only other thing is really just have the passport work on layer 1 as well. If IMX could enable that, you fix so many problems so damn quickly. Just like your passport login also working for Ethereum mainnet just fixes like 99% of your problems, or at least any problems that arise can be fixed later on. I know IMX has got it on their mind. I have no idea if they're doing anything about it, but I think that would be like, we wouldn't even need to move if they fix that. That's kind of like, that would be a really big deal. I think a lot of people miss that.
We should get Robbie on. Robbie is, if people don't know, is the IMX founder, Immutable X or Immutable founder. Why don't we get Robbie on and talk to him about these sort of things?
I messaged him and he didn't respond.
Right. Well, we need to start yelling at him and get him on. So, because I would love to know like more information about this. You know, a half an hour thing with him would be super helpful.
I don't have his phone number.
Well, we'll fly to Sydney and knock on his front door.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, THG, get us the address. Okay. The next one, Illuvium Zero patch 1.1.0. Really great as far as I'm seeing. I haven't actually looked in the chats too much. There might have been a little bit of bugs added in. I know I have a weird visual bug, but it's not game breaking or affects gameplay at all. I know Krypton level 6 converters might still not be working quite properly. So there's a few things here and there. But the patch was really, really cool. They actually reduced the odds of finding biodata. I hadn't been playing for a little while, so I'm a little bit bummed out about that, but it's a good overall change for the Illuvium ecosystem. The other big one is you can now transfer fuel directly from Illuvium Zero to the overworld, which is really, really cool. I think a lot of people are really happy about that, so loving that. And they buffed some of the fuel output and stuff a little bit. Stage 1 converters and I think were left alone, but stage 2 through to stage 6 converters were buffed a bit, and the base efficiency was buffed a bit too. So I think Najaf even made a tweet where he said he needs like 12 less power plants on his plot now because of the buff. So really big win overall. An absolute fantastic one. And that's it for our news for the day. So we'll move on to the leaks portion. Although this doesn't look like... there we go. So we've got this really nice Tiger Boreal leak. I'm really excited to explore this specific part of the region the most. That looks like some sort of Leviathan craft crash landed in Tiger Boreal and you can walk in and around it. That sounds really fun. Or it's a Leviathan alluvial creature thing. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to seeing how that's involved with everything.
That's really good artwork from Roger, by the way. Really good.
So the next one here is Neck mentioned near a few amount of times that post-launch we need...
You called him Neck?
Did I?
Yeah.
I thought I said Nick. TSG said I said Nick. we need to be increasing communication and reaffirming the vision and roadmap. But the big thing is that here, as far as he understands, Aaron is going to release a dev blog and share it as an announcement soon. We were speaking about Stuart's dev release article thing before and how we absolutely loved it. Aaron dev blogs have been absolute next level as well. I'm really looking forward to the next one. I know they've fallen by the wayside a little bit in past months, but I'm hoping we get back to that. They've been really, really cool. One of my favorite things about Wilder World is their dev logs every single month. Like, they're insane. They're like a 30, 40-minute read. They're like insanely ridiculous. But they're one of my favorite parts of Wilder World, and I hope we can bring some of that stuff and keep going with it in Illuvium. So... All right. So the next thing is Nick has said that the last burn report was 1.7 million, but Danny also mentioned that included higher expenses for that specific month. I know there was a bunch of marketing extra expenses for the past month or two, which is kind of how we got to that 1.7 mil mark around launch. His understanding is that 1.1 million spend per month is the target. That is my understanding as well. Kieran did mention in the town hall today that they are trying to reduce costs. So they're trying to get closer to a 1 mil burn rate over the next 6 months. They'll be trying to get there. I don't know exactly what that means. I don't think it's as... I think there's a lot of things that they can do to reduce costs, and we haven't really considered all that. Like, I don't think it's just like getting rid of people or replacing people or reducing their salaries or anything like that. I think there's a whole range of things that Kieran is doing to work towards that. So I think we'll be able to get there. They come out of the trend. They don't come out of runways. The counter salaries would actually not affect it at all.
Don't even get me started.
Sam, do you like the idea of them coming down to 1.1 mil, surely?
Yeah, I mean, 1.7 is way too high, especially with what they have to do. I don't know. Like, how do you bring expenses down if you can't cut salaries or staff? Explain that to me.
I think the average is about 1.3, 1.4. And then there's things like maybe servers and stuff that they don't need anymore, or they can get rid of, or maybe they overinvested. I feel like they probably overinvested in server capacity and stuff like that because they expected more players on launch. So I'm sure there's just a range of different things. I'm sure there will be some sort of element of shortening salaries and things like that. And then maybe even Kieran forfeiting part of his salary and stuff as well. Like, I'm sure there's a range of different things.
Great idea. Yeah, I mean, I would like them around that mil mark. It would make sense for a AAA game, but in saying it's very expensive to build something like this. Again, I'm still in favor of if we have the 3 or 4 regions nearly done, if you don't have to worry about assets or something for region 6 and 7 for now, like put that on the back burner, use those resources somewhere else, or even just stop. Maybe, I don't know if artists are hired third party or how it's done behind closed doors, but to bring those numbers down just for a short term. And if you need to rehire people down the line in, say, 6 months time, once you use those resources somewhere else, or bring that burn rate down so you can last longer. In saying that, might be a raise at the start of next year, depending on market conditions. Again, we can't rely on those sort of things, I think, because if crypto and macro environment, everything else stays like this for a while, Kieran's got a very hard job to do a raise at the current level of everything and sentiment of the market. And then that would put even more pressure on anywhere from January to April to be like more stress, I guess, on the team, more stress to deliver things and in general. So burn rate lower is much better. We all love this sort of idea, but we'll see what they come up with over the coming months when we see these burn reports. Hopefully they come out on time in Discord so we can read them. And I would like a more detailed report if possible. I don't know what the legality is of what they can share, but it would be nice to see, instead of it just saying core team members 1 mil or whatever, like go a little bit more in depth on things once you see the breakdown of the report, as I feel like it would just give more information and more transparency to the community.
Like, I'm on the IMC. Be more specific. You'd like to see like art department 300K or something.
Yeah, correct. So then we can find out where is the money getting spent. Like, I get it there, we're a DAO and everything else. So, but we want to know, like, we're trusting in this team where a lot of us are investors, and we want to know where the runway or the money is going to and where they're spending a lot of that chunk. You know, if X amount is going to something, we could then go, hey, why are we spending so much on art? Why are we spending so much on this? And it could be a simple answer of like, well, this is why X, Y, Z from Kieran or from someone from the team. But then we could even put in some suggestions and say, look, why don't we lower this by 20%? And then move that money towards Illuvium Zero or Arena Mobile, like, and just have that full breakdown, and we can find out where that money's going and what they're producing for those things.
Yeah,
So
I think they've been shuffling a lot as of late. They even hired 2 new employees for Illuvium Zero, I believe. One of them's a game designer, and I think one of them's a developer.
do we think the Illuvium Zero route is the right thing? Shouldn't Illuvium Zero just stay as a fuel production and focus all resources on Arena and Overworld, or you guys disagree with this? I wouldn't mind discussing this, actually. And I have no preference, or I haven't picked anything. I'm just curious of what you guys think of where resources should be going.
Yeah, not based on the data. The data is showing that there is a substantial portion of revenue coming from Illuvium Zero.
Revenue.
And yes, revenue from credits. And so what that shows us is that there is demand there, and what we need to do is not leave the land zero players out in the dark, and we should be building out that game right now you're playing just for fuel.
Yeah.
But as the ecosystem builds, the training gyms, the blueprints, there are other things that Zero can do, and we need to actually provide the players there with a good enough experience that they do want to keep doing those things.
Do you think it's only popular because people can make money off it with the fuel, or you think it's just popular because it's a fun game? Or do you think it's popular because it's mobile?
I would say the first part, that they know that there is an earning potential. There's a direct earning potential from it, 100%. That's one thing. And on mobile is another thing, 100%. Is it a fun game? It's currently fun if you have land. This is my personal take on it. If you have the land, you're incentivized to want to build it up. You want to collect the blueprints. It actually is I wouldn't say it's the best game in the world, but there is fun involved in it. Whereas if you're a free-to-play player, there's less of that behind. So I think the goal is to make sure that the game itself is fun for everyone involved in some capacity. And I think that's going to lead to a lot more. Just the accessibility of mobile phones and mobile gaming is huge. And like I said, I'm not going to share the percentage of revenue coming from that, but it's definitely not a small amount. So in terms of ignoring that, definitely not the route that I would take. I wouldn't say, hey, that's now our main priority, by no means, but it is something that we can't just leave on the back burner. It's not an option.
I think also to take into account would be that most people who are in Web3 in general with the games are on mobile as well. You would think, if you look at the data of that. So I assume I can understand why that's more appealing than the other games. So yeah, Scoriox, what's your thoughts on this?
So I've got a few things. The first thing is, in terms of development teams, it's not particularly simple. So it's my understanding Illuvium Zero is being built in Unity. And so the development team on Zero is actually completely different to on the other aspects of the Illuvium universe. You can't just pull them off and put them on Arena, for example, because Arena is built in Unreal Engine. Some developers might be good with both, but I would assume that most aren't, and they're just used to developing those sorts of games. The second thing is, in terms of excitement and Illuvium Zero, on day one, there were a lot of posts regarding I sold fuel. Ever since then, for the past month and a half, all the posts have been, I got X and Y biodata. So the biodata, all that collecting stuff is very exciting, even though pretty much no blueprints exist. Maybe that's just because we're in a multiplayer yet, so people aren't really talking about it. But people are really enjoying collecting the biodata. I know I am myself, and it's just a big part of Illuvium Zero. I think doubling down on that aspect makes a lot of sense. If I had to choose between Arena Mobile or Illuvium Zero, I'd choose Arena Mobile 100% until it's developed at least. But at the same time, Illuvium Zero has a lot of potential. People were talking about, in the town hall today, Omnifarious was saying, oh, a training gym's going to have gym battles and stuff in there. And I kind of laughed at first. I'm like, no, training gyms are for leveling up your alluvial, stat rerolls and things, which are all very important. But then I gave it a second take. I'm like, that's actually not a bad idea. What if you had a training gym on your land and you could put a bunch of your alluvials as defenses, and it's almost like a survival mode, and someone can go to your land and try and win a gym badge off of you and stuff like that. The point there, what I'm saying is, Illuvium Zero has a lot of different paths it can travel down. It doesn't have to be the exact same city builder indefinitely. There are some really cool things you can do with the base Illuvium Zero from where it is right now, and it takes a little bit of dev time, but that sort of stuff can really bring the whole interoperable blockchain gaming thing to life. And I think Illuvium Zero being the hub of that is a valuable proposition.
Sorry, Sam. I'm just going to say this quick and then take the lead on it. Yeah, I agree with Scoriox. I can't. Yeah, I am saying that. I agree with Scoriox in terms of if we had the option of Arena Mobile or Zero, I would definitely lean towards Arena Mobile. But Kieran has mentioned it, and it's a known fact that the first thing that we need to do is get all of the models into a low poly count. So it's an art thing that needs to be done first before the development starts. And when the art is ready for it and the low poly models are ready, I think that's going to become a priority for sure. But as of now, while that artwork is being finalized, Zero needs to be done.
Yeah, I just wanted to add in that is there any reason why they chose Unity for the mobile development to make it difficult, or is that just a mistake early on in the program?
No, Unity is just a general go-to for mobile stuff.
Okay, so it's like a go-to thing, right?
Yeah. So Unreal for larger scale things, and Unity for mobile.
And then do you see
that's how I understand it? Yeah.
Yeah. And do you see the game of mobile? Like, it makes sense to me, but do you see it coming into like is it Clash of Clans or something like that, where you can not necessarily attack bases, but you can sort of build out a lot more things to do with Zero? Is that how you guys see it?
I think that's possible. I personally don't want to see that, but I think it's as fine of option as any.
Okay, but that's probably further down the line. I think it's probably no point talking about it anyways. But okay.
I mean, there have been discussions there are discussions about exactly how much we want it to make it a supplementary game where it supports the rest of the ecosystem, and that's the main feature of it, or that Clash of Clans you can have a bit of both. It's how much do we want to weigh on each side.
If you look at all the games, if I'm just being completely honest, right? You've got Zero. It's sort of one game scattered into three, and we call it interoperable. But I feel like all the games, like the foundation is done, like the scaffolding's been done and everything. It just needs that next, like all the features to come in, like to make it a proper game.
It needs the furniture. It needs the furniture.
It does. That's what it feels like. Like I still haven't played Overworld since when it first started and everything else. And I'm probably not the best demographic for this, but it just feels like Zero's got it all. We've got it ready to go, but it needs like 10 more features. Overworld, we've got everything. There's all land and we can run around and shoot things and rocks. But it needs those 10 features. And this is what I always keep saying. It's about 9 to 12 months after launch. I always told myself is when Illuvium should be ready to sort of go, okay, this is a proper good game. And again, it's time, and then you've got runway, and you need to put them together. Going, if the team had 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years runway from now, I think there would be no stress in the community whatsoever. And I think it's just adding all those things to make it a game. The foundation is done, which has been very difficult and a long process for a AAA. So I'm hoping to see the next months, right?
Yeah. I'm always I always try to be pretty careful with what I say from internal meetings and external things like that. Kieran is publicly stated, and then I 100% agree with him here, is it's taken us 3 to 4 years to get here. The heavy lifting has been done. Right now, the foundations are ready. It's kind of like making the bricks. We've done all of that, and now we can just place them where we need to.
I agree.
Got all the speed in which that we are going to have a bunch of things coming is going to be so much faster. The systems that we have in place have been efficient in the last 3 years. We've made it more efficient, optimized as we went along. Everything is in place now. And yes, we want things quickly. We want things immediately. I get it. Trust me, I get it. But give us a little bit of time is what I'll say. You'll see starting next week, Kieran hinted at it a couple of times already about things that are coming next week. And you're just going to see a constant amount of things. I think what Kieran ended up with in the town hall, and I love the sentiment, was we've been here for 4 years. You've been waiting for 4 years. It's not that much now to wait for a couple of weeks. Every couple of weeks, we're going to have something. Every 4 weeks, you're not waiting 4 years anymore. Just give us that little bit of time, and we're dropping stuff every single month. Like, that's the pace that we want to be working at. Whether they're large or small, they're going to be things that improve your experience. And it's going to be features. It's going to be features that actually make you want to stick around, that make you want to play. People like myself and Kieran, we want to go on the Illuvidex and start buying things, like improve that experience. We're all users of the product. So we want to see it get better for ourselves
I think
as well.
The actions will tell us everything over the coming months, because it'll just, whatever comes out over the coming months will tell us everything pretty much. Like, no more, I'll wait till January, wait till March. Like this next 3 months, if there's nothing, then for me personally, by like before even January, I'll be like, okay, I need to probably rethink a few things personally. But yeah, the next 3 months is they really have to deliver some really cool stuff.
Yeah. So I just want to weigh in here with one final thing, and this is going to sound a little bit harsh. The problem Illuvium has is it doesn't actually have a single game loop yet. Again, it sounds a little bit harsh, but Overworld is capture alluvials, and then eventually you've caught them all, and the game loop breaks, right? And then Illuvium Zero is build up your land, and then eventually you've got it built up, and the game loop kind of breaks. It's not complete, it's not repetitive, and Arena is going to be that, but without ranked mode, it doesn't have one either. And so that's really the only problem Illuvium is facing. We don't have that Arena game loop that was supposed to fulfill that need in the Illuvium ecosystem. And so I'm looking forward to it. We're going to get to it later. We won't talk about it just yet. It's going to come up, trust me. First thing here is Aaron says he's going to do some video devlogs. Love to hear it. The next thing is Aaron says we're in the middle of finishing off the last few features for Gauntlet, and then we will add this. I think you will like the extras, in which he's referring to positions, leaderboards, and things like that. So it is coming very, very soon. Love to hear it.
What's
Another thing from
what's the extras? Does anyone know what these extras are?
I think weapons, ranger, suits, that sort of stuff.
Oh, okay.
So as Aaron says here, this is something that's being removed across the board in Arena as far as the free rotation gear and Illuvia is removed. And he says it has a replacement that is better. Do you have any idea? Oh, Tishy's gone. I was going to ask him if he has any ideas on that. It's all good. So the next one is Kieran has said that scouting will not be in the MVP implementation of lobbies, but eventually it will come. We don't know exactly when it will come. I hope it's a relatively high priority, but I can't say for sure. I think it's a really big part of the Gauntlet experience, but I do think the Ranger weapon suits and things are more important. So that's
what's
good.
Scouting?
So basically in TFT, you know how you're playing against 7 other players?
Yeah.
In TFT, you can actually click on the names of the other players and you can actually see their board at any time throughout the match.
Right, okay.
And since everyone shares a limited pool, so for example, only 12 atlases can ever be grabbed from the pool at any given time.
Yeah.
It's important to be able to see what everyone else in the game is actually grabbing so that you go, okay, 4 players are going for Atlas. It might not actually make much sense for me to go for Atlas. So it's a really big part of the Gauntlet strategy.
Okay, so they have to add that in. You know what I would love? I was thinking about this today because I actually watched Viper's video today. It was actually very informative because I'm not a very big Arena player. But you know what I would love? I would love to get 3 people who are very big in Arena. I think one is S-Judd. I think one is Viper. And one is someone else. Put their heads together because they're professional players. Even with those 2 and like someone in the in-house to come up with something phenomenal with Arena, or maybe it's on the right path. But I just feel like there's still a bit to go with Arena, right? To fix. With
the problem is Aaron has already planned a rework for Ascendant, and I don't know how far he's gotten with it. Right. But without him revealing what their plans are for Ascendant and improving it, it's a bit hard to.
Why not reveal?
It's a bit hard to do that.
Feedback. So then he's like, "Oh, I haven't thought of that." Instead of keeping things hidden, is there a reason we do this?
Well, there's somewhat of a good reason. I spoke to Kieran about a similar topic in the IMC, and obviously I can't say too much. But the general idea is that I asked, "Why can't you reveal all of your plans for future games?" And the big thing was that we've done that in the past and it hasn't really worked out all that great because everyone has differing opinions. Everyone thinks they're right. And you have 100 people suggesting things. And it doesn't really, you don't really end up with anything. You just got to let the team be the game designers and design the games. And then when it comes out, if it's bad, then you'll get lots of critique and you'll go and you'll fix it. And that's essentially what's happening with Ascendant. Let's put it that way. But it's hard. It's a lose-lose. Maybe revealing everything early is the right call, but it's not necessarily going to do much more good than the system we currently are working with. So I would like to hear more about how he's planning on reworking it. But at the same time, the minute he reveals any information, the fear is that the community sees that as set in stone. And so he says like, oh, now you draw 1 card a turn. And the community's like, oh, we hate that. We want 2 or 3 cards. But then they changed like 2 weeks later anyways. They're like, oh, we decided we didn't want to do that anymore. And now 4 weeks down the road, everyone in the community still thinks you draw 1 card a turn, right? Because he said that once, even though they changed it. And so saying this sort of stuff, gets really confusing really quickly. I mean, that's the problem. But
too many, there'll be too many chiefs and not enough Indians or whatever they're saying. It's too many what is it? Too many chefs in the kitchen or something?
Too many cooks in the kitchen, yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
I totally get it. I totally get it.
So the next one I've got is Kieran said the review process for accounts in some cases can take longer than a month to resolve. If it's a false positive, it's only fair that if we go through the proper review process with that player before we remove their ILV rewards. This is regarding the delay on rewards so far. The problem is that there's 30,000 ILV tokens to go out. And if 1% of players were found to be bots, then they're going to remove 1% of those rewards and keep them for future airdrops and things like that. Whereas people who are currently playing the airdrop believe that they're entitled to that 1%, which I believe is quite accurate. The problem that Kieran just illustrated there is that this vetting process takes a long time. So you either distribute the 99% of tokens now, and then if any of those people were found not to be fraudulent, they can get their remaining 1%, or you distribute the 100% now, and then if you've got to give away that 1%, it comes out of pocket. It doesn't come out of the 30,000 rewards. That being said, if we're changing the entire reward structure, I think Anon was saying it a lot today in the town hall, then I think it's not too bad having that 1% come out of pocket in a sense, because you're not necessarily distributing 200,000 tokens in total anymore. And so I think that's viable, but it's a weird way. It's another one of those lose-lose. As I said in chat before, it really does depend on the percentage. If this is like 10% of people were found to be cheaters, that's a lot. If it's like 1%, then it's like, who cares? I mean, like, well, you know what I mean.
My take on the airdrop in general is the idea of an airdrop, if you look at the core of it, is it's a marketing thing. And it's to hold retention, to then get VC raising, and many other things in the marketing space. I couldn't give an F if the airdrop doesn't come out for another 3 months, 6 months, or whatever it may be. If it takes some time, it's just, to me, it's meant to be a marketing thing. It's free money for people if they play a game. It should be the last thing on their not last thing on their priority. I get it, because I'm going to get some backlash because people are doing this and they want the airdrop. But like, who cares? Like, delay it for ages. I don't care. Put your resources somewhere else. That's my opinion. And it doesn't push the game forward. It devalues it because it's meant to be a marketing cost. Whatever.
Okay, so only a few more of these left. Firstly, Kieran said land rental has been completed by Polemos. We need to find some time to test it before they deploy it. So very exciting. Land rental is very close. I know you want it, Sam.
Mate, I'm telling you right now, I have, I don't know, 40-something land plots on different wallets, and I can't even access them because I got a username and password and stuff like that. But now we have the passport thing when we transferred assets over. So I don't even know where any of my land is, to be fair with you. It's going to be a deal with it. I genuinely have just left them all and then be like, I'll figure this out in the future. And I'll yell at Rich or TSG or someone to help me figure out where
they're in MetaMasks. That actually has nothing to do with your old username and password.
No, but if I want to log into, if they are in MetaMask, if I want to transfer that NFT, I can't.
Yeah,
you can. I have to log into the Illuvium account, correct?
No, you can transfer them like a multitude of different ways.
Anyways, it's my problem in the future. I'll deal with it.
All right. So the next one we had is Roger says it'll make total sense why you can't ask your Hexosuit to fly and jump while powering your abilities and damage taking capacity. So it sounds like you've got to prioritize different things, whether it be shooting, flying, taking damage, using abilities, which sounds really cool. We don't really have that right now. You can essentially fly while you cast your drone ability right now. So I think I'm really looking forward to overworld combat. I think some great stuff is happening.
Get it in there now. Like, I know it's not ready, but goodness, that's all I want. It's that and multiplayer. That's it. Go ahead.
Oh, I love it. All right. So the next thing we've got right now is actually the topic of the week. And that is, will Gauntlet Leviathan leaderboard rewards change anything regarding user retention and spend? Kieran has mentioned huge tournaments coming. To fill you in a little bit, Sam, I don't know if you were paying that much attention. Someone mentioned in the chat before. Kieran has mentioned for season 2 even, or at least season 3, putting 50% or over 50%, whatever, of the current airdrop rewards, so that would be 15,000 ILV tokens for a month, into giant tournaments. So what we're talking about here, let me quickly do some math. We're talking about $600,000 being spent on tournament-related activities in a given month. If you have 2 large tournaments, it's $300K a tournament. 1 large tournament, you're talking about like $100,000 for like the top prize for a player. Obviously, with a vast majority of this allocated to a Leviathan Gauntlet tournament of some kind, I believe is the focus. I know Kieran wants to focus on Leviathan. And then probably leaderboard rewards of some kind with still high amounts for the rest of the month, each week, or whatever it might be. What do you think dropping at the extreme case, let's say dropping $600K on a single giant Leviathan Gauntlet tournament is going to not only bring in new players into Illuvium, but encourage significantly more spend from current players in Illuvium?
Are you saying this is per month, by the way, and it's obviously in ILV tokens at the current prices?
Yes, but I mean, like, it would probably be like 1 trial month, and then if it works well, keep going. Like, it's not like they're going to commit to 5 months.
This is just finding out about this now. I think it was in the town hall, right? Couple of things. One is the idea of this money is meant to bring in marketing costs to bring in more players. The issue we have is we struggle to get in new players with the onboarding process in general. If you're giving away $600,000 a month, why not have a look at what Fortnite and all these other things do? I think they do like a weekly cash cup. They do like every Friday, Saturday, or whatever it may be. I guess the first month will definitely be a trial period. I don't know if it makes sense to give away so much money, but at the same time, you need to entice players to come in, like the top TFT players. If they have a personal relationship with a bunch of TFT players, go, hey guys, why don't you come and play this game? There's $600,000 prize pool, and DM them or know them on a personal level or have relationships with them. Then that would be a really good thing, because if they come over and play it, it's, gets their foot in the water and they go, shit, I just won 50 grand. And then obviously if there was like a vesting period of the tokens or something like that, I think most of the rewards, again, I don't know what percentage should go to Leviathan Gauntlet, because obviously for obvious reasons I don't have to get into. But yeah, I mean, just look at data, look at other games, what they do, and maybe put a spin on it. That's what my take would be to distribute that money. But it's much better doing it that way than giving out free money to people who just do, copy paste of milestones or missions or something.
Like Kieran said, Parallel has been doing huge competitive pushes recently, and clearly it's working really well. People in Hearthstone don't have the opportunity to win much money. There's not much competition in Parallel right now, or at least not much experienced TCG competition. And so they can come in and clean house. It's kind of funny because they're all coming in, and so they're not really cleaning house anymore. But it's been doing really well for Parallel. I know people would be skeptical, but like, even if it was $100,000, is like top prize $100,000. I know Kieran wants to do like alluvial hunts and things as well, but like that's exciting. Like that's like mostly skill based competition. It's like if you're good at the game and you have the assets, you can win 100K. There are a lot of people that would be keen on that. A lot of people that would be like, okay, I'm going to start learning. If they're going to do this next month too, I'm going to get ready.
How much is Parallel giving away, if you don't mind me asking? Sorry.
They had a tournament in December last year, $25,000.
And then people coming over for that?
Yeah,
a lot of tournaments esports tournaments don't pay that much, man. Like,
so why don't we just do 25K or 30, something like a similar thing to bring over the TFT players? If it's working for them, let's duplicate that, right?
I mean, marketing is always, I think, like, for example, what I'm thinking in my mind, none of this is confirmed or anything, but yeah, 600,000, that's pretty insane. But doing it for 50,000, 75, like around those numbers, if you look at just the marketing aspect, if I go to a bunch of TFT guys and say, hey man, there's a $50,000 prize pool, I'm almost certain that puts it up into the very, I say top tier, but already very high up. I've got a number in my mind. I don't want to say it because I'm pretty sure someone in chat's going to say, no, you're wrong. But it's in the top, I'll say 20. Top 20, if you're going at about a $50,000 prize pool, that's top 20 TFT tournaments in the year. So that immediately, if that's what you're doing on a monthly basis, that's
as in
like,
total prize pool is like 50K or whatever it is?
I believe so. I need to check. It's been a minute since I did check, but I checked in 2023. I think it's something around there. Yeah.
Well, then, yeah, it would be crazy stupid to do 600K in one tournament. I think that's really silly. If whatever the data is of what Taryn's saying, and I guess people could find this out if we look more in depth to it, but just do whatever the prize pools that make sense, whether it's 20K to 50K, it sounds like it's somewhere in there, whether that's a weekly tournament or something like that, and TFT players will find out about it, and then they can come over and play the game and figure it all out. Why would you not do this? I think it would be crazy.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what this is going to look like, and you're right. You don't need to make it $500,000 for like a single prize pool. That doesn't make any sense. But like,
sorry, Scoriox. I'm just going to jump in very quickly. I just checked real quick. If once you're in the 15,000, like the top prizes for TFT was I believe 500,000 in December of 2023. I'm checking 2023 because it's a full year.
Yeah,
but 500,000, 456, 450. So they're the worlds, like they're the largest, and then it drops all the way down to 50.
Is that for first place or is that for total prize pool?
It says total prize pool.
So shit, like why not just I mean what we just said then makes sense.
Yeah. Well, which is what I've been playing around with my mind.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, and like Dennis said here, there's already $1.2 million in RV promised every single month. So he says there's no going back. So if half is going to tournaments, it's 600K automatically. We could definitely reduce it for future months and things like that. So there's nothing stopping us from going, okay, we're going to drop that. This wasn't working that great, but we're going to put a big chunk of it to tournaments and things like that. I think that would be a really big win and have a profound impact, a lot more than we're seeing right now, or at least a lot more with the, let's say, gamers that are in Web3 right now. And it would just be really, really exciting. What I like in particular is Parallel has something they've called Parallel League. A lot of games have started doing this. Even League of Legends, kind of late in the game, created something called Clash. And it's basically like a weekly tournament system that's built into the platform. Like you wouldn't have tournament hosts and organizers. It just has like a set time and you jump on the game and you're like, okay, I'm going to play my three qualifying matches for this week or whatever. You have to do it through a specific time slot and stuff like that. And you qualify for the grand finals and things like that. And so like, if we can build all of those tournament structures into the Illuvium client, that is where the win is, especially for things like Leviathan.
I agree. Yeah. I'm looking forward to see how this tournament thing plays out. So obviously the first month will be data and then, we'll see what numbers
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The problem is that the game has to be kind of ready for it. Like if there are any game-breaking bugs, it's just going to feel really bad.
Yeah.
And so we're yet to see the team get it to that position or know how close they are.
They said like 1 or 2 weeks, they got a bunch of things to come into the game. There'll be some bugs and whatnot. So I think the tournaments you would start shortly after that if they're confident with it and then see what feedback they get. Like once a ranger is in and all these little things that you spoke about earlier, then I would love to see them try it for the first month and see what data they get back and see how many TFT players come over and enjoy it. Like including what's the esports team called?
Team Liquid.
Yeah, like good to see if they even come in and they can win that prize pool and whatever else. So yeah, I mean, I'm keen for that actually, the numbers wise.
All right, so let's jump into the next one. We've got from Nick here. This was a big community discussion, project direction and communications mandate. He basically wants to see, I'm not going to go too deep into it, one fortnightly Discord announcement that clarifies the direction of the project, progress made, and describes the evolving shape of the core game products. One fortnightly social post that clarifies the direction of the project, progress made, and describes the evolving shape of the core game products. And one fortnightly AMA that clarifies the direction of the project, progress made, and so on and so forth. One fortnightly game design town hall. That actually sounds really fun. With Aaron held in Discord covering decisions and vision. If there's anything, I would actually really love that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, like all that sort of stuff. It has it has almost 110 upvotes, which is unheard of in feedback and discussions. There have been some great discussions in here from both team and community. As we were talking about before, the issues you have is the minute you start talking about something, it almost becomes gospel. And you might run into issues in the future and stuff like that. I think Illuvium's already on the right path, even if they had a monthly town hall and a fireside chat every week or 2 weeks. And then you've got things like AMAs semi-frequently and things like that. I think that's all plenty. But you do need kind of like a Discord announcement somewhere as well, I think, which is one of the things Kieran has mentioned here. So yeah, this has been a really good chat. I recommend going and back reading a bunch of it. It's not too long, I don't think. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm for this. Anything with communication with the community makes sense, and I think most people are for this, as long as it doesn't take away time from things that are important. And yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and Kieran has mentioned, I don't know if we've said it publicly yet, but monthly town halls definitely going to be a thing. And I know Aaron is working towards making the dev blogs a bit more consistent as well.
Great.
Yeah, so I think those are the main things, and fireside chats, and we're set. To be honest,
Yeah.
I don't think.
I'll bring it up quickly. I know Paz has an upcoming AMA with Aaron as well in the next coming weeks. So there's no confirmed date on that, but once that we do get a date, I'm sure we'll push it on our side here as well.
Do we have an infographic coming out from the team anytime soon with like Q4 this, Q1 this, or is that gonna not be happening anymore like they in the past?
Yeah, that'll happen.
That'll happen. Do we have a rough idea when this is coming out? Like when they want to roughly hit these Q1, Q2 stuff?
I know they want to get Akira wants to update the roadmap and wants to do it frequent. Well, I say frequently, like update the roadmap every quarter or something. But I have no idea when he's planning on pushing this through.
Hopefully before end of September, because then that would be Q4 starts at October.
Fair enough. Yes. I will bring that to IMC first thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's jump onto some of the community content before we wrap this up. First up, myself and Sam had an AMA last week where we talked to Kieran about everything, as we talked about at the start of this episode. A lot of it was regarding finances and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it was a really good AMA. A lot of people seem to really enjoy it. There are some haters as well, so great all around. And yeah, highly recommend watching that. There was also the town hall that just went live. You go check that out. They went for 2 hours. I missed the last 30 minutes of that because I fell asleep because I was really sick. But was there anything interesting happen in the last bit?
If you scroll down quickly.
Oh yeah, you had the
timestamps.
Hey, right on TSG.
Yeah, all good, man.
Oh
yeah, everything is
super helpful.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say too much. If anyone wants to check the video out, it's on the main channel, and all the timestamps are there. There is a little bit of there's like 1 minute of audio issues around that 12 minute mark, but other than that, it's pretty smooth.
Okay, sweet. All right, love to hear it. The next one we've got is actually from Super, giving you a reminder that the loyalty rewards have vested for the full 3 months now. That happened a few days ago. So if anyone has loyalty rewards and hasn't claimed them yet, just a public service announcement. Let's not harp on it. The next thing is V posted some really great stat alluvials today. A really killer rate. Absolutely love it. A killer squeeze, which is really, really solid. Missing the Omega, though, which is unfortunate. We've got a flare, which is basically perfect. You don't need the Omega that much on the flare. This is like insane. And then you've got this Fern, which is pretty much spot on as well. So some absolutely great things. I love how people are getting into all this. And I'm even seeing like, it's really funny. I never thought that it would necessarily happen and or last that long. But we're seeing a lot of people in the community being like, oh, can you earn for free? And people are like, yeah, if you jump into a T0 area and you get like a rare or a high stat alluvial or like a stage 3 alluvial in a tier 0 area, you can sell that for $1, $2. And that'll give you 3 or 4 runs in stage 1 runs. Like that gives you stuff. Like you can take that further, which is really, really cool. Like despite what people want to say, Illuvium's economy is actually functioning pretty well overall. And that's really exciting for the future. Yeah. So is there anything else you guys want to touch on?
Nothing on my side, man. Just appreciate you guys consistently doing this, having these type of conversations, the community for being here, supporting. Excited to see the next couple of weeks and the features. I'm looking forward to next week's conversation. Ideally, those updates are going to be out, and we can have a good conversation about that.
Actually, wait. On that note, let's quickly. Did Kieran say he plans on the gauntlet update next week, right? Which is ranked and lobbies?
He hasn't said what features, as far as I'm aware, and I'm not going to say that.
Okay. My question is is ranked and weapons and stuff coming together?
Weapons and the Ranger integration is going to take a little bit more time.
Okay, so that's coming later. Okay, so ranked is hopefully coming next week, and then Ranger integration maybe 2 weeks from that is my guess. But that'll be good. Okay.
I didn't say 2 weeks, but no problem.
Hopefully, it doesn't take too long. I think that's pretty urgent as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. But yeah, okay. Don't forget to use referral Scoriox right down there, by the way, in the Illuvidex profile settings. Please do that. It might have expired, so always go double check. Love it. You can also use Sam's code. It's just SAM Sam.
I still have a code. I don't even think I got a code. Do I still got one?
You have a code.
I don't know.
Still.
But don't use Sam's code. Use Scoriox.
I'm with that, to be fair. Use Scoriox's.
All right. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap this up?
No, but do the thing.
Wrap it up.
And with that, guys, the download is complete. Have a good one, guys.